Hi everyone. Today we'll be discussing about the social work profession. I understand that you guys are in 6th grade, so this is the time where you start thinking about your career path. I want to share with you some of the basic things that you may want to know before you decide that social work is a profession for you and what is the next step to take. So why consider becoming a social worker? Have you ever asked yourself, do you enjoy helping people? Have you personally experienced a hardship in your life and you want to know how you can inspire or help or support someone else who's also going through a bad time? Do you care about everyone and the problems that are going on in society today? So let's ask ourselves, what are some of those major issues that's going on? We see homelessness, we see increase in substance abuse. People are dying of overdose. There's mental health issues. There's issues with LGBTQ. There's issues with inequality. And I'm sure in your school, there's possibly bullying going on, that we may not even see. And do you want to work in a field that's constantly evolving? What that means is a field that has many different job opportunities and many different positions, and you can work with a variety of populations. So what are some of the roles of a social worker? A social worker is a very broad, very diverse profession. What that means is you can work and take on many different paths in this field. Overall, you help improve the social and the psychological well-being of an individual, a family, community, organization, or even a group. So social workers serve as an educator. They can be counselors. They can be therapists of clients who are in need of emotional, psychological, environmental support. They do see clients in various lenses, and they consider what are the best treatment or best intervention possible for them. They provide counseling, they provide resources, they act as a liaison, they investigate the client's problems, and they develop a service plan that's best for them, and they also advocate for the clients. So these are the most common responsibilities. There's a lot more. If you want to get a little bit more in depth about social work, you can always read up or research on it. So where can I work as a social worker? So social workers usually work with the disadvantaged populations, basically clients who face or are at risk for social problems, and such as the ones that we mentioned earlier. People who suffer from mental illness, people who has a substance abuse problem or an addiction, elderly who needs different types of care or assistance, or maybe children and families who are at risk of having their children being placed in a foster home, or there's a disruption in the family and they need someone or somebody to intervene. You can work with children and families. You can work with seniors in nursing homes. You can work with teenagers in schools or hospitals or mental health clinics. You can work with adults in all various settings, and you can also even work in groups. So, what do other people say about social work? So, some of the things that we all hear, or we may even believe, only crazy people sees a social work or a therapist, or those are the kind of people that are the ones that social workers or therapists work with, which is not true. Social workers, they work with anyone who is in need of support. Like I said earlier, you could be a senior, you can be a child, you can be a teenager, you can have a low income or a high income. It doesn't matter. Anyone who need stabilization or need some kind of assistance in their day-to-day responsibilities, they can always seek out a social worker. Another statement or myth that I've heard was social workers, they may take my child or children away, or that's what social workers do. That's not what they do unless the guardian or like the parent has not been complying with any of the recommended services that a social worker had offered, and they are continuously putting their child at risk or they're harming their child, then of course a social worker will need to intervene and make sure that the child is safe. Social workers work so hard and pay so little. That's not true, especially if you have a degree and an advanced degree, and you have numerous years of experience, and you have different skill set. It really depends. But any job can be hard. However, if you have depending on your credentials, you can be compensated for a decent amount. Depending on your standards. And lastly, I hear from people that all caseworkers are volunteers, or they think that any social service workers are social workers, which is not true. All social workers, they require some kind of degree. They can be bachelor's level, they can be master's level, even a doctoral level. And depending on what kind of practice they want to get in, you would need a license. Alright, so how can we silence the stigma? Social workers are great listeners, and they're very resourceful to help you get the care that you need. So, social workers, they're not miracle workers. You would need to want help, in order for them to help you. So they're there if you need them. However, you also need to put in that personal effort and also investing your time outside of your sessions with the social worker. And if a social worker cannot help you directly to deal with your problems, they can also recommend other places or other options for you. So overall, managing and reducing stigma for the people who are disadvantaged is part of the practice as a social worker. If you feel that this is a career that you want to consider, you want to help others, and you want to make a change and help enhance the lives of others and help them live more optimally and live more productively, then maybe this is the right career for you. So if you're still not too sure and you want to know, well, what else can I do to kind of make sure that maybe this is what I want to do, you can speak to a career advisor, or you can actually speak to a social worker. You can volunteer at different types of social agencies. It could be at a shelter, it could be at a hospital. There's social workers everywhere. I'm sure that we haven't even seen them. Whether we go to a medical clinic or a mental health clinic, or we visit a hospital, we visit a welfare agency, or even a nonprofit organization, there's social workers everywhere, and you can volunteer at different types of places to see if that's something you enjoy doing. You can also research about the topic, and you can also take an educational course. If you have any more information, you can always visit the website www.socialworkguide.org. Alright, good luck and have a great day.